This was locked. Oh, you have to do it this way.
I killed one. It's not enough.
Is there a way you can flip it around?
See it. Flip camera.
There you go. A little quiet now.
There's no one on.
You had it fine. What did you do before? Sorry, I can't really. Just wait a couple minutes.
Look up there. Stay. Oh, okay. I'll use my fire phone. It's a thing on
Is it 6 yet?
It's 5:59.
What time is it?
5:59.
there. Fire. I could just hammer them and try to finish them off.
Speed check reported ahead on I-71 South.
Hello, Ashes Nation. This is KC, and I'm in the car. There's a speed check that's been reported that I'm gonna have to pay attention to. You're listening to KC in the car, the road to GenCon. I've got an unpaid intern monitoring the chat currently, and we're ready to get there. I'm gonna end up in Columbus, Ohio at some point during this live stream. So hopefully we miss rush hour traffic and I don't have to pay too much, more attention to the road than the Ashes talk that I normally do. But that's a little ways away, so we got some time, at least before that, to talk some Ashes. Me and the intern are excited about playing tomorrow. Got our decks locked in. Not going to talk too much about them, although there's of the whole 4 people on the stream right now. Probably wouldn't be a big deal if we did, but we're going to get there a little bit early tonight and try and get there very early tomorrow morning and maybe pick some Disney Lorcana up before the tournament, but we'll see if that happens. But in the meantime, let's talk some deck building. So I see Rob Trot in the chat. We can start with him. He sent me a list that we can kind of talk about. Unfortunately, Rob, in the list you DM'd, I mean, my phone is currently recording me, and I'm driving, so I can't really read it. But I did have the unpaid intern read through before, and I get the basic gist. So we're building Tristan Fish here, right? This is a list Rob has that was inspired from Inquisitor. Inquisitor posts on YouTube quite often and has been running a ceremonial sympathy Tristan Fish list. And I'll be honest, I mean, looking at it right away, the list is very solid. Obviously, Inquisitor's so he's going to have a really solid list. And this is a Tristan Fish ceremonial sympathy, a wide burn deck is how I would classify this. So if you guys have been watching the couple of the dual series that I was posting yesterday, and we'll continue to post, maybe not so much over the next couple of days. GenCon, I'm going to keep going through the Phoenixborn, but in those decks some different deck styles and different deck pressure tactics, and I like to kind of break down all of the decks into one style and one pressure tactic, right? So, you know, what I mean by that style is generally kind of what the deck strategy we want to I don't really like that term. I like to call it pressure. And it's, you know, how do you force the game to a conclusion, right? If you get into kind of a stalemate or a lockup situation. And I break it down to bypass, burn, and mill. Those are the three I kind of think about. They're not the only three, but they are the main three, I think. Bypass being we're going to find a way to swing past the opponent's blockers, whether that's kill them or give our units evasion of some kind. Burn is going to be just do damage directly to the Phoenixborn with burn spells like Molten Gold, Final Cry, those types of things. Or abilities like Justice Screams of the Departed. And Mill is the other one in which we're going to attack the opponent's deck in hand, try and get rid of all their cards, and have fatigue damage kill them. So Rob's deck here is clearly a wide burn deck. So Prism Tetra, Vampire Bat Swarm is in this list. That is a kind of a wide unit because it wants to swing wide with group tactics, and when it dies, it can replace itself if it's not exhausted. So it's a good wide unit. And the basic idea here is you want to swing wide, get damage in quickly around the opponent's blockers, and then have enough burn spells in the list to finish up. So kind of stuff I like to see in these Tristan lists. And again, Inquisitor built this, or built the backbone of it, so it's already solid. If I remember right, Ben, the spell board was what? Revenge, Vampire Bats, and Tetra?
I think
Is that right?
so. Yeah.
Okay, and then we had Ritualist as well to get the chance of revenge online. I like that. Obviously the 3 tsunami shots. We had, I think, 3 Raptor Herder, which any wide deck wants 3 of. Raptor Herder is kind of like the premier go wide unit because it's so efficient for 1 die, and it gives you 2 bodies and the group tactics. So we definitely want 3 Raptor Herder. We had a bunch of Fire Archers. I would want 3 of those as well because it's burned with a body. And so it supports the wide plan by having another little efficient body, and also the burn pressure plan by doing the direct burn of the Phoenixborn. And then we had Sympathy, Pain, and Final Cry. I think there are 3 of each. Again, that's our burn pressure plan, right? Fire Archer, Sympathy, Pain, Final Cry, and Chant of Revenge. That was kind of the burn the burn package. Ben, do you remember if there were Sleeping Widows in the list?
No, I don't think so.
So if I don't remember if there were either. Sleeping Widows is a card. If it's not there, I would suggest looking at. Tristan's got 9 battlefield, so plenty of room for Widows pretty much at any time. And it helps to go wide, and it it just being at reaction speed, especially when your opponent kills a unit.
Yeah, that Rob Todd just said 2 Sleeping Widows, so.
Oh, there is just 2 Widows? Okay.
Yeah.
So I do think so that's good. 3 Widows probably is too much because with it being chained, you can't play it in round 1, so you have to kind of draw into it. I do remember a spicy transmute magic in the deck. I love transmute magic as a spin down card, not necessarily as a dice fixing card. I mean, it's okay for that, but I mean, really, this is mainly a 2-color deck. So, what? What are you pointing at? What? No, the intern wants candy. I'm live here, and he's pointing at me to get candy from the side of me, dude. All right. Anyway, so if we're just in 2 colors.
He put transmute in, Rob Trump put transmute in for directions fixing, but he's not sold on it.
Okay. So if you want a dice fixing card, if transmute was in there to spin down dice for a specific reaction, like if you're afraid of sympathy pain or final cry or redirect or something, and you wanted to get around that, it's good for, I guess what it really is good for is spinning down a Golden Veil die, spinning down a Charm Power die before you hit Tsunami Shot. I do like it for that. But if we're looking at, if you want dice fixing, because we have Sleeping Widows in the deck, I'm actually kind of high on Dark Reaping. That's a card that nobody plays, but it's like Transmute Magic is a side action for a class die that is going to fix a bunch of dice, but it also destroys a unit on your battlefield, so you can side action Dark Reaping to fix dice, react with Sleeping Widows, and then you get a big wider swing. I think that's a cool little trick that, I mean, the whole sacrifice a unit, pop Sleeping Widows, swing for a bunch of damage was a strategy back when Brennan was really popular before she got nerfed to all high heck. But I actually think that's pretty cool. It's a cool dice fixing card if you're in a wide strategy with Sleeping Widows. It worked better also when Salamander Monk was not errated, and you could get the spirit. But still, and then you here, if you want to get really crazy,
Yeah, he said it was cool.
right? You want to get really crazy, you could Dark Reaping a Vampire Bat and Swarm to respawn it, so you don't even lose the unit, and play the Widows, and then swing wide, right? That's a lot of dice. I don't know if I would do that unless I'm getting a big lethal swing or something, but it'd be kind of a cool little trick to have up your sleeve. So that'd be, if you're looking for dice fixing, that'd be a card I'd look at. But again, I do like the Transmute Magic, the spin down piece, the side action spin down Golden Veil, main action play Tsunami Shot. Tsunami Shot's one of the best cards in Ashes. If you ask Carl, he says it is the best card in Ashes. And I'm not really prone to disagree with that. It's a fantastic QT card. And it really stinks when it gets Golden Veil. So having a spin down option in there is pretty cool for that. I kind of like Magic Siphon better than Transmute Magic. I know that we're out of spellboard slots here, and that would probably require taking out taking out Chant of Revenge to put in Magic Siphon. I don't think that's completely out of the question, but it's there. Magic Siphon's a really good card, but it generally fits better in a deck that has a mill pressure plan rather than a burn pressure plan. The only other things I like Huntmaster in those wide decks. Then what's that say? We're supposed to be watching Chad.
Nick Green, Brian's been playing these Dark Reaping, and I sold Ninja on it too for a sale.
Who said that?
Nick Green.
Okay. So Treatment's in the chat talking about Dark Reaping, and I think it's good. That side action clear, and so I mean even like this isn't very relevant in this Tristan list because Tristan's got such a big battlefield and usually isn't going to have to worry too much about self-clearing units. But in a Phoenixborn where you've got a smaller battlefield, right, and you're looking for dice fixing and you need self-clear spells, Dark Reaping's pretty phenomenal because you can clear a unit as a side action and then summon a unit as a main action. A lot of the clear spells, absent like Guild Link, which is another fantastic card for this Tristan deck, by the way. What are we saying, Ben? Read the chat. I'm watching the road.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, there's 2 things up there. I see them.
Yeah. I'm not updating on mine. Oh.
I'm gonna have to pay this intern even less than I already pay him.
Shut up, Dad. I do play Dark Reaper in my Fallen deck, and wasn't sure on it at first, but the side action clear is a really nice one. Corey Halter said that.
Yep.
And then Rob Trot said Dark Reaping instead of Transmute.
So I think it's worth a shot. It depends on. I mean, I like both, right? I like Transmute to get around Golden Veil. I like Dark Reaping to self-trigger Sleeping Widows and Final Cry. One thing I will say, like lately, I've been very down on Sympathy Pain, and I'm down on it because you don't get to trigger it yourself. You have to wait for the opponent to do it for you. Maybe I'm still really salty about my loss to Lark in the putt tournament a few months back, and where it was such a close game, and I spent all this time trying to get a Sympathy Pain off, which was silly because he just continued to spin down my power dice and wouldn't let me have it. But even after that, I'm down on the card because I don't like cards that rely on your opponent doing something. So it's like I like having ways to self-trigger the Final Cry, right? Because
Dad.
what's up?
Treatment said, I think Guild Link is a solid tech flex since you can later recur the chance you're finishing.
Agreed, right?
Especially given Carl's recent showing.
Right. Yeah, we saw that deck last night that Carl ran with Holy Knight, in which Redentor would have loved a Guild Link in his back pocket. I mean, it's hard to know when to kind of pull that out, but I'll get back to Sympathy Pain in a second, but I do really like Guild Link in Tristan specifically. In Tristan Fish specifically. Couple reasons. One, after you swing the fish, most of the time the opponent wants to just leave them there because they're going to go away at the end of the round. So the Tristan deck almost always has like an expendable, exhausted unit to just ditch to the Guild Link. 2, after Tristan does that wide swing with the fish, a lot of times he's vulnerable to a small counter swing, and having a Guild Link up with no token kind of makes that counter swing a little bit less desirable for the opponent to do, so they have to think a bit twice about that. And thirdly, Tsunami Shot is a fantastic card alongside Guild Link because it's so flexible in how you spread out that 4 damage. So, if they have like a Raptor Herder, a Raptor Hatchling, a False Demon, and a Hammer Knight on the board or something, you can play Tsunami Shot, wipe out the Demon with 2 damage, wipe out the Raptor and the Hatchling with 1 each, and then side action Guild Link, kill the Hammer Knight. It's probably the best card. It's definitely the most flexible card for clearing out some units going into a Guild Link play, right? So I do really like that card in Tristan. It might be more of a flex unless you're willing to just give up on Chant of Revenge altogether. Because I think you need, 1 second, I think you need Fish and Vampire Bats on the spell board.
Okay.
What's up?
Treatment said Spain is still a good remover card too, though, and in a thick dice split, you aren't overly worried about spin down. And Rob Trott also said, so like Guild Link, early chance late.
I mean, that'd be a way to go if you're
10
expecting.
miles, take exit 190B to merge onto I-270 West.
Oh, I gotta get off at 10 miles. If you're expecting some bigger units, then Guild Link I think might be a pretty cool call in the first 5. And then, you know, maybe you pivot away from it into Chant of Revenge to help finish the game. Or just abandon it altogether. It depends. You know, Chant of Revenge is kind of a weird card. It's a pretty good burn card, but again, it's kind of predicated on what your opponent does, unless you're killing your own allies.
Okay. Treatment also said, if you aren't comfortable judging the opponent's deck yet, then yeah. Otherwise, it'd be depending on what you suspect.
Right. And that's, you know, the more you play, the more you get used to what matchups, when you sit down across from somebody, you need a certain tool for. You know, if you're playing again, and maybe you do this, right? Maybe it's, if the Phoenixborn sitting across from you has 17 or less life, then you go with Chant of Revenge plan, unless you're like certain they're going to bring Knights out. If they're 18 to 20 life, you know, maybe you look at Guild Link as a way to, because it's, you know, it's going to be a little bit tougher to burn them out really fast. But you only need 1 Guild Link if you're going to first 5 it. I mean, some people play 3 if they're expecting to draw into it. It's tough when with only 3 spellboard to find its place for it, but it's certainly a really cool card with Tristan. If for no other reason than Tsunami Shot is just so phenomenal at setting it up. Another card to think about is a choke. And I can't remember if there's a choke in the list or not. I like choke in burn decks just because there's a lot of Phoenixborn that have really strong abilities, and just shutting it off for a round can be really beneficial, and it furthers your win con of kind of burning them out. So I might tech in a choke to see if you can start it against maybe an Odette or an Aerodel. Jericho doesn't like to be choked because she's typically relying on using that prepare to get her board set up in the first round. There's a bunch more, but Cole hates being choked, for instance, especially if he's playing the Wishing Wing draw shenanigans in round 1. Mayoni, anyone with a 2 dice ability doesn't really like being choked usually. Ben, what's the chat saying?
Bob Trot and Treatment are talking about placing Chant of Revenge with Guild Link.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something to mess with. I don't know if it's
And
the right thing.
Treatment also agrees on the show.
Yeah, I don't know if what's better, Chant of Revenge or Guild Link, but it depends on what your bad matchups are, right? If you're playing the deck a lot and you're losing to like big alert things, then maybe you want the Guild Link in there, right? If you're playing a lot of matchups and you're not playing Chant of Revenge and you find that you really would like a burn, like a couple more points of burn to finish out games, then maybe the Chant's the better call. I think it's a bit matchup dependent, but I really like both as a support spell alongside like a Prism Tetra Vampire Bat core for the deck. And the other thing to worry about with Tristan Fish specifically is an AoE spell in the first round. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, if you put down Prism Tetra and they play Nature's Wrath, you just kind of lose out right at the beginning, and that's the only problem with Tristan Fish is that Tetra play is telegraphed. When the opponent sits down across from a Tristan with a bunch of sympathy dice, they're probably expecting Tetras, and it's pretty easy to pivot into a Nature's Wrath open. So I guess I would caution, like, if you're gonna play the Fish, if they don't play a Wrath, I swing them right away almost all the time, just because I'm afraid, like, if I try and put Raptor Herder out or something alongside them and go for a really wide swing, then I get Nature's Wrath and wiped out. So I would say, like, look at kind of attacking in spurts in that first round, especially with the fish. Because there's there's no counterspell out there to Nature's Wrath. Not even the fish's focus ability stops it. The only thing you can do is Sacred Ground. That's the only protection, and you're not in those colors. And I've seen that play, but I don't know that it's worth it. I'd rather have a Guild Link or a Chant of Revenge or something else down.
Rob Trot always said I've played it a bit, but I always seem to lose when the opponent has had like 3 life.
Okay, and that's with Chant of Revenge out? Is that true? Asking Rob.
Treatment's in Sacred Ground.
Yeah, that's the only way to stop Nature's Wrath.
Rob Trot said, I did find that the opponent could just kill conjurations to not trigger Chant.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it's dependent on what the opponent's doing, and when burn is like the way you want to finish the game.
And he said yes.
Okay. When burn is the way you want to finish the game, it kind of hurts not to have Molten Gold, because that's the reliable, like, end the game spell, right? You deal 3 damage, game over if you can get him down to 3 life. So thinking about that, I wonder if there's a way to add some nature dice in here and work in Molten Gold. With nature in the deck, Huntmaster becomes available, and that's another really good kind of go wide card that I like a lot. It's also really good with Guild Link because you get another expendable, like Panther Spirit, expendable unit that you can Guild Link away and not really worry about it. Because there's not a whole lot of extra burn you can run.
2 miles, take exit 190B to
get
merge
that
onto
additional
I-270 West.
There's not a lot of extra burn you can run to get that additional couple damage through. So maybe adding some nature dice and then Huntmaster and Molten Gold is an avenue to look at. I'm not sure what comes out for that right now without really looking at the list. But I mean, I would like Sympathy Pain would be a card that's on the chopping block for me. It is, like Treatment said earlier, it's a good removal spell, but it's still dependent on your opponent doing something.
Rob Trot said it might be getting a little complicated for my skill level at that point.
Maybe, and if you want to stick to 2 colors, I get it, right? Stay in Sympathy and Ceremonial, and the deck is like very, it's kind of autopilot-y, right? That Tristan Fish deck, and actually Unpaid Intern has played a little bit of it. And he likes those decks that are kind of on autopilot, where you just rush your stuff out and swing. And it is kind of an easy deck to play through, and especially in 2 colors. It works there.
Yeah,
Use the right 2 lanes to take exit 190B to merge onto I-270 West.
So I'd stick with Sympathy Pain then, because you don't have a lot of burn otherwise besides the stuff that's already in the list. So if that's true though, I probably would
take the exit.
Go away from Transmute Magic and into Dark Reaping. Just because I think you want some ways to trigger your own chance and your own final cries yourself, and prevent the opponent from having all the power in determining whether or not they kill your allies and turn that stuff on. What's he saying, Ben?
I can't hear Unpaid Intern without thinking of the Bo Burnham song.
That's fair. That's fair. Not gonna stop you from thinking about that. But I think that's what I got, Rob. Anything else specifically that you want to talk through? I mean, those are kind of where I'm at. If we want more, Blood Chains is another good spell. I don't know what kind of hard removal we had in the deck besides Tsunami Shot, which isn't really hard removal, that's damage removal. But if there is no hard removal, I would look at Blood Chains.
Treatment said, Treatment said I dropped the 1 chant if there are 3 for the Guild Link flex, and Rob said any better allies? And
I'm running Master Vampire already, right?
yeah.
That's definitely a really good one of.
Then Treatment asked him what the ally package was, and then Rob said only Master Vampire's only large cards. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's I don't have an issue with that. It's really the only big ally in that color spread with just Ceremonial and Sympathy. I mean, there's stuff like River Scald. I mean, I don't know. It's not a bad card if you need removal. Trying to think what other allies we're thinking about here. Like stuff like Flute Mage isn't really impactful. String Mage is kind of just a techie card, and I don't know really if it's super helpful without like a root armor or something to keep it around in the matchups that it's helpful in.
Corey Halter said Crimson Bomber is a decent unit. And,
yeah, I was thinking about Bomber because we don't have any AoE spells in the deck. But we do have Tsunami Shot, right? Which is why I wasn't too concerned.
Treatment said Horde.
Yeah, Rising Horde. I thought we had a Rising Horde in this list.
Yeah, so Rob said Raptor, Old Salt, Fire Archer, Horde, Ritualist.
Yeah. Old Salt is amazing. It's definitely there. Phoenix Attendant is one that you might want to look at. It doesn't really gel with the speed of this deck. Like, this is a fast deck that wants to end the game pretty quickly.
Yeah, like Treatment said, they said splashing even a single nature gives Frog Up capability, Ice Trap, and Nature's Fast access.
It does, but I mean, I think I understand Rob's desire to keep it to 2 colors, and you know, until he gets more comfortable and then want to splash a 3rd color, great. But I think with Tsunami Shot in the deck, you're not really hurting too hard for an AoE spell, just because Tsunami Shot's so good at being flexible. And when you're swinging wide with fish and stuff a lot, then you're not too worried about a swarm, because like they just kind of naturally start trading into each other at that point. And when you're running a bunch of 1 life units on your side, then Nature's Wrath doesn't seem really good unless you've already swung and need to clear it off. But with Tristan's 9 battlefield, you're not hurting for the self-clear too much. Nature's Wrath would turn the chance on, though, if you had allies out, and would turn, give yourself an opportunity for Final Cry. But I think if you play Reaping and potentially Blood Chains, then you've got probably enough of that. I mean, if this deck wants to win in round 3, right? Late round 2, early round 3, probably. So you're not going to need what's it say?
Okay. Treatment said 1 bomber is spicy, triggers chance, extra AoE, or just install an end of round 3 punch.
Yep.
And Rob said anything that gives status tokens to these colors, question mark, could make its Tetris more dangerous.
The only spell there is really is Invigorate. I'm not a fan of it. I'm trying to think what else there is. I mean, the other status tokeny cards are more in time, or they have like a Night Nature in time, or the places where the status tokens typically come from.
Well, yeah, that's what Treatment said. He said, don't bother trying to get the fish around. There's Invigorate, but it's not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that, like, would it be kind of cool at like the end of the round to like side action Invigorate, main action pass, and then you get to keep your fish? I mean, maybe, but I kind of like using those fish for stuff like Guilt Link or Blood Chains or stuff like that, where you have, you don't have to worry about destroying the unit that you're concerned with keeping on the board. You can just sacrifice that stuff that's already swung, and it's not going to be here, so go ahead and kill it to get a benefit. I kind of like that. So I think those are my thoughts on Fishton. But definitely a really cool deck. It's very powerful. There's a couple of techie things against it, but if you don't run into those, I mean, that thing can steamroll a lot of decks.
Rob says, lots of useful ideas. I appreciate the help.
Not a
You're
problem.
welcome, Rob.
Not a problem. That's why we're here in the car today. Besides driving to GenCon, we're gonna talk some decks. So that's one down. I do have Shadowfire sent me a couple of ideas to talk through, but if anyone else, I will go to the chat first. If anyone wants to talk about building something, they got an idea they want me to iterate on. They want me to build a deck around a card. I am here for my 5 loyal listeners currently on KC in the car. Anybody got something, or I'm gonna, if not, I'll build Shadowfire's idea.
Rob says, I can't wait to meet you all tomorrow.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're gonna be at GenCon, Rod, that's awesome. I assume you're playing in the tournament in the morning. Hopefully you are.
He said you do have to jump off for family dinner, but he will see us tomorrow.
All right, sweet. Looking forward to it.
See you, Rob.
All right, so I don't see any more thoughts. If you come up, anyone wants to see something, throw it in there, and I'll get to it. What's that say?
Treatment said fallen counter deck. Because yes.
Fallen counter deck.
No.
Yeah, fallen.
All right. Hold on. Second unpaid intern number 2 is beckoning me. What's up, Luke?
I'm here.
He's here. Wants to make his presence known.
Halfway through the live stream.
Yeah, he's been back there playing Nintendo Switch for the last half hour.
Whoa. We're halfway there.
We are.
Whoa. Copyright from Square.
All right.
Also, where's the iPad?
I don't. That's packed away. You're not getting that right now.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
Almost out of battery.
so let's counter Fallen.
Oh yeah, Oxfordor also said a deck idea around one of the cards you talked about yesterday.
Oh, I did do a KC in the car yesterday for the 5, what I thought were like the top 5 underused cards that were real good, but not a lot of people played. So maybe we could put these together. All right, so let's think about a deck that can deal with Fallen.
Carl also said I've been hearing Jungle Warrior is good.
Jungle Warrior. Now I don't know if I can counter Fallen, play one of these 5 cards, and squeeze in Jungle Warrior all at the same time. But hey, who knows? We'll think through it. If I'm trying to counter Fallen and I'm using one of the 5 cards I talked about yesterday, so in case you didn't see Casey in the car yesterday, my 5 cards that were underused, I felt, were Law of Fear, Guilt Link, Redirect, Exhortation, and Change Psyche. So if I look at those 5 cards, Guilt Link is not very good into Fallen. When there's a bunch of little zombies on the board, they can just ditch one of those to the Guilt Link, so that's not a huge deal. What might be good into Fallen, though, is Law of Fear. And that's probably like the card in that list of cards that is the least played, I think, that should be played more than it is. We did see Carl playing it yesterday with his Holy Knight stuff, and it does work really well in a tall deck like that, where, and especially in that one where he's not really concerned about attacking at all. So Law of Fear is like just a complete one-sided effect, right? Because that deck wasn't attacking, it was just sitting there and waiting. But so think about that a bit. The other ways to get around Fallen, I think, are bypass terrifying units. What's that say, Ben?
Okay.
No, sound off.
Treatment said I approve the acapella Bon Jovi, and Treatment said you shush, Carl, you shush right now.
Yeah.
And Corey also said another thing that can counter Fallen well is tame units like Beast Tamer.
Yes, and alert stuff too. And Beast Tamer happens to be both of those. So if we're talking Beast Tamer, Law of Fear, I mean, we're getting into the realm of control mill type decks here. So maybe we think about that. The other thing I was going to bring up is I kind of like the terrifying stuff against Fallen. You know, it's not really a huge deal if they put 6 or 7 zombies on the board if your guy just swings over the zombies. So I kind of like Frostback Bear and Hydra and stuff into Fallen decks. You're a little bit less afraid to kill the allies then, because you know they get to make 2 or 3 zombies, but I'm just gonna swing past those.
Treatment said Tamer, Law of Fear, Jessa with Lightbringer.
Tamer, Law of Fear, Jessa. So we're gonna force the zombies to attack into the Beast Tamer, and then scream when we kill it. That's the idea. And that's what Carl was doing yesterday. He just used a Holy Knight instead of a Beast Tamer. But it is worth noting that Root Armor does not stop damage from the Fallen. That's a really easy thing to forget. I constantly forget that Fallen even has an ability. But the fact that its damage can't be prevented comes in handy a little more often than I think I ever realized.
And Treatment also said if you go in nature, you have a Hydra and Golden Veil.
Golden Veil, that's not nature. But
well, Divine Nature and Charm.
Yeah, it is there, right? You also get Steadfast Guardian in that deck. You know, you can't do the Root Armor trick where you just kill everything and not take damage, because again the Fallen gets around that. But you can do Law of Fear. So here's when someone said counter Fallen and use one of my cards, the first thing I thought of was like a tall bypass deck with Law of Fear. So I'm gonna build that because it was the first thing that came to my head. And all right, Ben, can you get Ashes.live up?
Yeah, it's up. I've been waiting.
All right. So
in 2 miles,
we're gonna
take exit 8 to merge onto I-70 west towards Dayton.
First, I'm gonna make sure I don't miss my exit to get onto 70 west. But then I'm gonna build this bypass deck, I think. And so usually you see the massive bear Hydra stuff played out of Odette. I kind of want to build something unique here. I don't want to just do the same thing that's been done over and over. And I wonder, let's see, I kind of want to also use some of the, well, I want to use some of the Scourge of Frostwild cards in this, but if I'm putting it on Ashes.live, they're not there yet, so maybe we'll skip out on that for now. But because I was thinking about potentially doing this out of Rin, because he's a Phoenix Born I really want to mess around with a lot once the new set drops. What Phoenix Born should I do this out of? Anybody have a good idea? Who's good against Fallen, or who do you want to see a deck built with?
Right, most Lane Dead.
I'm in that.
Alright.
I mean, we can build Odette,
right
but
lane
like
to take
that
exit 8
deck
to
has
merge
been
onto
done
I-70
before.
west towards Dayton.
Xander, I guess, is an option. Xander has Earthquake that can also help control Fallen hordes, and that's also a way to damage the Hydra. That because he doesn't. If we're not building Odette, then we don't have Enter the Fray.
Take the exit, then keep right to merge onto I-70 west.
We can do that. Let's do Xander.
Use the right lane to keep right to merge onto I-70 west towards Dayton.
So Ben's going to set up Xander.
Yep.
Do that. All right. Go ahead and grab the 3 Earthquakes right off the top. I think we're going to want those.
Liberator forcing attack, Shield Mage to get the attacks on Hydra, and Tall Bypass with Tricks, says Treatment.
Shield Mage. Okay. I kind of like that. That'll also work really well with the Beast Tamer.
Alright.
In there.
Xander, you said?
Yeah, let's play it. So let's do it out of Xander. And that will also allow us...
Treatment also said in Noah. He could do that, question mark.
Do it in Noah?
Question mark.
Noah can shut off a Fallen book. I don't know if... I like Xander better for the Hydra stuff. But...
For 92 miles,
he said Noah, so
continue
let's do
straight
Noah.
on.
I don't care.
Alright.
Let's swap it to Noah.
Noah.
So we're gonna play Noah. Let's go get 3 Shadow Blades
Alright.
right off the top. I'm not gonna play Master Wolf here.
Also, I'm not going to be monitoring chat while I'm doing this.
That's okay. So yeah, we might miss the chat. The only time we're gonna, if Ben's building a deck, I have unpaid intern number 2 back there playing some video game. He can't see the chat. So
I can.
he says he can, but I don't know that he can. He can't read it from back there, dude.
Shadow Blade, 3 of them. Alright.
Yeah, we'll get 3 Shadow Blade. Grab the 3 Law of Fear.
Alright.
And then let's grab 2 Beast Tamers and 2 Shield Mages, since those are the cards people are throwing around. Let's.
3 Law of Fear, 2 Shield Mages, and what else?
2 Beast Tamers. So we're gonna screw around with that. We also probably need Flock Shepherd if we have Shield Mage, but we might want to get some. Maybe
Shield Mage, 2 Shield Mage.
Throw a Flock Shepherd in for now, just so I don't forget about it later.
Alright.
And then we're gonna run Frostback Bear.
Wait a minute. Flock Shepherd.
That's still finding Flock Shepherd.
I'll give you a second. No way.
Alright, I'm giving you a second. How long does it take to type the word flock?
No. Okay, what's next?
Alright, so let's get a Frostback Bear book in there.
Okay.
And then let's put in the Hydras. I don't know if I want all 3 Hydras, but put them there for now, and we'll see if we need to take those out.
So, 1 for now?
Put 1 Bear book, 3 Hydras. 3 Summon Shining Hydra.
Okay. 3 Hydras for now.
So I guess what we're building here is a tall bypass deck, by the way. If we're gonna go back into my little matrix of stuff. So our idea here is gonna be to build up tall units and then swing past the board using Terrifying as evasion to get over the little things. Again, I'm not super sure how well Noah does with this. I mean, Shadow Blade is good at killing little guys. It's not great at killing big guys. Earthquake is good at killing big guys. But what Noah does have going for him that Xander does not is he can turn off a book. Like if they've got Frostback Bear book or False Demon or anything with 2 or more attack that can typically block a bear or a Terrifying 1 Hydra, then Noah can just turn that off, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna kind of play into that a bit. So let's see. So we have 2. What's our ready spells right now, Ben? Like Frostback Bear and Law of Fear.
Let me see. Ready spells we have 3. Yeah, Law of Fear.
Frostback Bear and Law of Fear. So I have 2 more slots. We're in Nature and Charm, so it's dumb not to run Gilder. So we're gonna run Summon Gilder here, which I think is good with Flock Shepherd anyway.
1 book, right?
Yeah, just 1 Gilder book.
Alright.
Good with Flock Shepherd. And gives us a unit guarder and some ping damage. So the other book, and it probably is a book that I'm thinking about, not a utility spell. I do think I kind of want it to be more of a support book and not necessarily, I don't know if I necessarily need a consistent attacker because I have Bear and I have Hydra, and those are the ways we're going to be trying to fight damage through. Oh, put in 3 Massive Growth. I forgot about that. That's a key card for this deck. You getting sick on me? Don't get sick on me.
Just let me do this.
Don't be doing that.
3 Massive Growth.
Alright. So, I'm thinking, well, you know what? Lightbringer's the answer. So, I don't know why I didn't think about that. Lightbringer's, we forgot about that. Lightbringer's the answer here because it enables, it's a bypass enabler by exhausting one of their guys. Plus, with our Shield Mage shenanigans, I think we want the Lightbringer to force the attack into our board and then allow us to choose the blockers. So now we're running the spell board of Bear, Gilder,
Okay.
Lightbringer, and Law of Fear.
Treatment said treatment is off.
Easy.
He's already gone.
Alright, So we're Bear, Gilder, Lightbringer, Law of Fear, and then we got some allies in the deck. We got Beast Tamer, Shield Mage, Flock Shepherd, Shining Hydras, and Shadow Blades. Is that about where we're at?
Yep.
And Massive Growth.
Massive growth.
Okay. What's our card count currently?
20.
Only 20. It's not bad. Okay, so we need 3 Nature's Wrath.
Alright.
That's a way to get some damage on the Hydra. As a main action.
Right.
And throw in 2. So let's see, we have both Close Combat and Seeds of Aggression that we're in color for that we can use with this Hydra. I'm not sure which I like more. Let's go 2 Seeds of Aggression and 1 Close Combat for now. I'm gonna mess with both of them.
Alright. 2 seeds.
That should get us to 26 cards. We're gonna play 2 Ice Trap
Okay.
because Ice Trap's too good not to have. Again, bypass. Ice Trap's a good bypass card because it surprise kills a blocker. Let's see. I'm trying to think through what else.
We're at 28 cards now, so.
Yeah, I know. I kind of want to splash in a Meteor.
Meteor.
It's bad with. It's not great for Frostback Bear, but it is with Hydra.
You can't get any meteor than a meteor, you know that?
Can't get any meatier than a Meteor. That is true. But we also don't have any dice fixing, and I think we're. I mean, I feel like there's quite a few power sides in here. Maybe there's not many as I thought. Put in 2 Call Upon the Realms.
Alright.
We're not in color for like Accelerates or any of that stuff, or Reaping or any of the like. There's always Channel Magic, but
Alright, that's our full deck count.
so we've got 30 cards. Read it back to me, please.
We've got 3 Law of Fear, 1 Frostback Bear, 1 Gilder, 1 Lightbringer, 2 Beast Tamer, 1 Flock Shepherd, 2 Shield Mage, 3 Massive Growth, 2 Call Upon the Realms, 1 Close Combat, 3 Nature's Wrath, 2 Seeds of Aggression, 3 Shining Hydra, 2 Ice Trap, 3 Shadow Blade.
Okay. How many? Well, only the 1 Flock Shepherd.
Yep.
Kind of want another one. I think I wanted 1 Flock Shepherd when I was playing Xander earlier because I could recur it, but I'm not playing Xander right now. I'm playing Nova. So what's our first 5 then? What? Bear, Gilder, and Lightbringer. 6 dice with 2 Nature, 1 Charm, and 1 Divine.
Yep. Oh. We have Percy and the Jones.
Percy is out of the chat.
Percy Jones has entered. He'll be sitting here.
No, 3 Nature, 1 Charm, 1 Divine. So I think we want to be able to start. We want to be able to start Shield Mage and Flock Shepherd. I think that's an open we want to be able to do. So we would need a 2nd Charm and a 2nd Divine for that. That'd be 10 dice though, and we don't get to use Noah's ability. So maybe it's Shield Mage Ice Trap or something, or like Beast Tamer Ice Trap or something like that. I think we need at least 4 Nature, 3 Charm, 2 Divine. We need to start there. And we have 1 more die left over. Do we have Raptor Herder in this list? That seems like a problem.
We do not.
Yeah, that feels like an oversight. Man, I really want at least 1 Raptor Herder. Add a Raptor Herder, Ben.
Alright.
We're gonna have to get rid of something else. The Law of Fear is really tough here. When we have 3 Law of Fear, but I like it with this deck because like we don't care much about Law of Fear. Actually, you know what? We don't need Raptor Herder because we have Law of Fear. Never mind. Raptor Herder's not great when Law of Fear is on the board. And I think our point here is we want to be attacking with big stuff. and use Law of Fear to control the swarms, along with our Shadow Blade and everything. So I think we're good with right here. I think I'd go 4 nature, 3 charm, 3 divine. I might have to revisit that dice spread. I don't know if it's right. It's hard to do math here on KC in the car when you're driving and aren't looking at the deck and that kind of stuff.
Ben, pay attention to what? Do the math.
But what are our divine cards, man? What do we have divine wise?
Alright,
Lightbringer.
Law of Fear, Lightbringer,
Oh, Law of Fear. Jeez, we here. Shield Mage.
Shield Mage, yep. I'm trying to think, I don't see any. Oh, this is Shining Hydra.
Shining Hydra. Yeah, we probably want 3 divine. I mean, we can always use one of them on Noah's ability. All right, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with this list. What are we calling this list? Is this the?
We need a dice spread first.
I gave you one. 4 nature, 3 charm, 3
I
divine.
wasn't paying attention.
I know you never pay attention.
I'll pay attention to right away.
4 nature what?
3 charm, 3 divine.
3 charm, 3 divine.
Yep.
Luke's also shouting in the back, so I can't. Alright.
I mean, this was a deck to counter Fallen that used one of my underused cards, right? That's how we started building this, and then Treatment said to use Noah, so I did that.
Scary Fallen?
Scary Fallen.
Fear the Fallen?
Fear the Fallen.
Scary
I like that. I like Fear the Fallen.
Yeah. Fear the Fallen?
We're gonna call it Fear the Fallen. That's a solid name. Doge King 290 is gonna post this on Ashes.live. He'll publish it so that we have it up out there. And it's been about an hour.
Fear the Fallen?
So-
I'm gonna put the first 5 in the description. We're going for first.
Yeah, well, I
first
mean,
5.
that's a first 5. I think there's a couple things you can do. I like having.
We'll put our first 5 in it.
I like having Beast Tamer, Ice Trap in the first 5. That's pretty cool too, along with 3 books. But I think there's times where you can run Shield Mage, Flock Shepherd, and just not use Noah's ability. I think that's good too, depending on where you're facing against.
Okay, well, we'll put the recommended first 5 that we reviewed.
Okay, do whatever you want. All right, dude, don't ever do that again. That's how people get in car accidents.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're gonna wrap up the live stream. We had some people in the chat. Thanks for joining us if you were here. Need to go. So again, thanks for joining us. This has been KC. I've been in the car along with my 2 unpaid interns. We have been KC in the car, brought to you by the Jankyard. Frog up, everybody. See you next time. Peace.
It's alright,